Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and this is the truck I've been looking forward to getting behind the wheel of for many years now. It's the 2025 Nissan Frontier PRO-4X. This midsize truck is still sporting a naturally aspirated 3.8 liter V6. We've got some skid plates, we've got some exposed tow hooks down there, we've got some meaty all-terrain tires. What are we running? Hankook Dynapro AT2s. In fact, aren't these the same tires we put on my dad's truck? That's kind of cool. Dynapro, they're Dynapro something or others. We might have gotten him ATXs. I'll have to check that. We are rocking the full crew cab and shorter bed. However, something I do appreciate about the Frontier PRO-4X as opposed to a lot of the other off-road oriented versions of midsize trucks is you can option a 6-foot bed with this one. And for me, I'm not buying a truck unless it's got at least a 6-foot bed. So Frontier would make my short list. This one you're looking at about $50,000 as you're seeing it. And today we're going to take it on about an hour-long highway trip out to some off-roading in Riverside County, and then put it through its paces a little bit, come on back and talk about my pros and cons with the truck. Taking a little look around, if we drop the tailgate real fast, we see, well, first of all, some plastic accenting here on the tailgate, letting you know it is the PRO-4X. Not that high of a tailgate. That's actually kind of nice if you were loading things into here, bikes or something like that. I'm 5'10". It's well below my hip line. We do have a wall style outlet right here, capable of up to 400 watts. That's nice to have. Some good tie down points, as well as adjustable rack. What would you call this? Kind of slot channel adjustments there. Fairly light tailgate to close. 87 octanes, all you got to put in here. That's definitely nice. Doors open decently wide. Rear seats, you can fold up that way and back down this way. And getting in, you do certainly have more room than you do in the Tacoma. However, these seats are very angled up. And I know if I were sitting here for a good amount of time, the uprightness would probably get old for me at 5'10". Yeah, I can't help but feel like the Ranger had more room. It's a little bit less about the leg room, more about the seating angle. It's a little disappointing to feel that. And you also don't have any sort of air vents back here. So we had our daughter in the back earlier this week, and we were having to blow a lot of air back here when Alyssa was sitting with her, make sure they stayed cool. But we do have a wall-style outlet, as well as a USB-A and a USB-C. But coming into the front, the Frontier becomes a lot more appealing. And before we get on the road, I want to make a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, LazeFit. They provided these LazeFit floor liners here for the Frontier, and since this is a press vehicle and I will not be keeping it, these all-weather mats, I guess the best way to put it, heavy-duty mats, these can be yours. If you own a Frontier of this generation, whether it be a Pro-4X or a more basic model, and you want a set of these mats, let me know. I'll come up with some sort of other a special thing to comment here in the middle of the video, some sort of question that you can answer, and if you can be the first one to answer, I will send these out to you. But as you can see, some of the benefits of choosing these as opposed to the liners from Nissan is they actually cover quite a bit more space. Looking at this, they go way up all the way and fit nicely in behind the pedals. So if you've got muddy boots or something, it's going to keep that protected. And they've got little walls that sort of go up on the sides as well, keep the carpet protected. They're 3D measured, kind of all the standard stuff you're going to see from floor mats. But I am pretty darn satisfied with the cutouts and the way they go in. And as you can see, kind of bring them out here. They're flexible, but not too weak. Decently solid. They seem like they're going to hold up pretty well over time. And I mean, obviously there's some other floor mat competitors out there, but it's really not that hard these days to make a decent type of floor mat. So I'm kind of finding it harder and harder to justify crazy costs for something that you're just going to put your feet on. So for me, as long as they fit in really well, which you can see these do, and they're very easy to clean and they look good, that's most important to me. So if you want to get yourself a set of LazeFit liners, check the link below. I think I can get you a little bit of a discount. Or if you want to win these, stay tuned and let me know. But look at the ones in the rear. This was actually really impactful to me. You can see how much more they cover, kind of going under the seat for little children's feet or something like that. You can already see that my feet have kind of mucked them up doing the review. And they sort of go out onto the door panels, which help keep that covered as well. And right here in the center hump, really covering it better than the factory ones. So Good products here from Lace Fit. I've also gotten some headlights from them for our truck, so you can find a lot of good products on their website. But getting in here, you can see some cool PRO-4X lettering and, oh, that's interesting, two-tone seats. Good classic, comfortable Nissan seats. Firing it up, getting that 3.8 liter to life. Love having all these physical controls. You can see I was able to hop right in here and turn the fan speed down very easy. Didn't have to wait for some touchscreen to turn on or anything like that. Good physical controls for climate, for volume, radio, and everything on the steering wheel as well. If you're getting a truck, it's important that it's going to work with things like gloves and big clumsy hands. So today's agenda, heading out here from Irvine, California, going out to the east and doing a little off-road driving, testing this truck out. We've taken the Tacoma TRD Pro and Trail Hunter for some pretty thorough off-roading, as well as the Ranger Raptor. This one, a little bit less capable on the very top end, but here's the thing. You'll see journalists go out and do amazing jumps and hardcore trails and donuts and ripping around on these trucks, but most of that's because they don't own them. If I actually owned one of these trucks, there's not a big chance that I'm going to be taking it and doing super crazy hardcore off-road driving. I'm probably going to be mostly dailying it, and then maybe going out and doing some trails and some adventures, but keeping my truck from getting damaged. So for me, the Frontier Pro-4X is actually probably going to fit all of my needs and more from a capability and comfort standpoint than just as well as some of those other more quote-unquote hardcore trucks. So we're going to test that out here today. Nice smooth drive out here. I've spent a decent amount of seat time in the Frontier, actually. I've ran a lot of errands with Alyssa and Eve earlier this week and did the highway fuel economy test, did some filming, and then the trip out here. It's a well-designed cabin. I mean, it really, there's a good amount of space as mid-sized trucks go. Good-sized center console. It's nice having the wireless device charger right here and grippy and slightly angled down so your phone stays put. I like that the ride is just a nice balance between truck-like and compliant. But here we are. Let's go out and have a little fun. Tire pressures are set at 35 psi cold. It's their recommended spec. Let's start out with just a little dirt road action. So this is the type of thing that, having something like the Pro-4X, you're going to be able to take advantage of these upgraded shocks, but it's not like you're throwing your truck in the air like I was saying. I mean, it's just good, confident ride compliance. Decent amount of traction there in two-wheel drive as well. Do feel that 9-speed shifting quite a bit. Obviously going to be nice for getting better fuel economy, but because we don't have any sort of turbocharger to fill in that lower torque action, just you got to downshift. And just like that, we get into a little bit more tight and steep trail. Now, I've done this on a dual sport motorcycle, but I have not done this trail in a truck. So let's kind of just start heading up and see how we feel. We do have a locking rear diff, so probably have to get that, or at least all-wheel drive going, four-wheel drive I should say, pretty quick because we are already spinning out. So let's go neutral. We're going to skip right over 4 high and go into 4 low. We got some cameras that come up. That's nice. All right. Back in drive. And there we go. Like nothing happened. Ooh. This is steep. Let's bring up our gauge here. We've got off-road gauges. Looks like we are at about 11 degrees incline right now, 11, 12. Hand cooks seem to be doing a great job. Ooh. This thing's doing great. It seems like once we get above about 10 miles per hour, the camera turns off. That's pretty standard for a lot of these off-road vehicles. The camera won't stay on at higher speeds. It's a little unfortunate because 10's really not that quick. I'd like to see it up to about 20 or so. Maybe they're dealing with some sort of legal stipulation, however. This is a bit misleading, isn't it? There is a fence or a gate, and then people have clearly gone right through it. Ooh-wee! That's pretty cool. Look at all those trails down there. All sorts of trails for you to explore with your Frontier Pro-4X. I think this is going to be a good chance for what we call a photo opportunity. Let's hop out and take a look at the truck. Foot-mounted parking brake. Make sure that's fully engaged. Nice job, little Nissan. That's pretty cool. And like I was saying, I mean, was I able to do that any more or less than I would have been able to in any of the other top-tier off-road trucks? No. It is totally fine. The thing is with some of those things like the Ranger Raptor, it's just that those are seriously made for practically Baja racing. I mean, the capabilities are so far and beyond what most people are going to do with their trucks. This was even more than what most people are going to do with their trucks. So, Pro-4X, very, very nice sweet spot there. So I'm going to continue around, do a little bit more exploring. We'll see if we find anything else cool, and then get back on the road. We just came down that hill. I was shooting for the Winding Road video, but I'll show you this footage of it here because that was sketchier than I would have liked. And I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all. I don't know if we're going to be able to get back up. Check out this footage. So that was only doable with just the right line and just the right maneuvering and skill to get through that. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get back up. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I am worried because some of those we were essentially just sliding down and looking at the rock coming up. I just don't know. It's less about the truck, it's more about me, to be totally honest with you. And I know that way eventually is gated, and I know that way is pretty sketchy as well. I'm probably gonna go that way first, and we're gonna see what we might be able to do. But if we get to a situation in which I gotta back down, I'm really not looking forward to that. Woof, okay, let's see, Charlie, what did you get yourself into? Did not bring recovery gear, because of course, you can see our lace fit mat getting good and dirty there. This is probably a good opportunity to drop the lace fit question. Would any of you know? No, I'm trying to think of what's something. The first person to tell me who has a Frontier and what they traded in for it, or what truck they had before, maybe what vehicle they had before. Maybe they didn't have a truck before the Frontier. Comment below, let me know what you have, and if you still have your Frontier. And if you're the first one, then you get the mats. Actually, send me an email, charlie@thedailymotor.com, and the first email that comes through, it'll be yours. I think we've got one out. I know we've got to go up a good bit of elevation to get to it, and then we have to go down a section that was so sketchy that I turned around coming up it in the Gladiator, the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon of all things. So that is clearly a more capable vehicle than this Frontier. Maybe the Frontier can get down it. I'm gonna have to weigh out what's sketchier, going down the awful section that I couldn't do coming up in the Gladiator, or going back up that section that we know we were at least able to get down. Ooh, okay. Will I be calling miles per hour to ask him to tow me out? Find out here soon. I don't even know if a tow would do it. I think the first thing I would do to get out of here would be to air down my tires. Air down to about 20 psi, start with there, and then see if I could crawl up some of that back there. Part of the problem is these are technically trails, but some of them haven't been used in so long and they don't get kept up at all, so any big rains come through and erode through the trails and create these giant ruts, and nobody's out here fixing them. So it's like every man for himself. But yeah, any of you who watch Daily Motor regularly will know nothing we do is staged. We have gotten stuck on camera before, hoping this will not be another situation of that happening, but it's been done. Okay, so that is, I know, a way out. That is a way out, but I know that one's sketchy, and I know that one's sketchy. I'm trying to remember which one's sketchy now. That one I have to go up in sketchiness, and that one I only have to go down. So let's start with this one, because I'm definitely not doing that. Oh, geez, that was big already. Holy cow. At least going this way, I know that if it gets bad, I can back up. And it's fairly open right here. But let's see. Oh man. Alright, we're gonna get out and walk it real quick. See what I mean about the erosion? So I can take this way right. Take this right. But this section, I don't know about this one. Because if we slide down at all, I mean, that's not good news. And obviously if we go right, that's not good news either. I am pretty sure if I get through this section, then I'm home free. But that is easier said than done. You know, I could maybe come down here. It looks like some people have. Ooh, but those rocks right there are just... Yeah, and once I got right here, I would definitely have to cross over. And then hope for the best on my way down. I think we're going to at least entertain the other route first. I just don't love coming down that. And if if this looks worse coming down than the trail I just did, theoretically speaking, going up that one would be a better move. Okay, here we go. Ooh, there are bees trying to get into the car. Must be the bright orange paint. Now, I did have the thought that maybe I should just try the Devil I Know on that side, and yes, maybe it would be difficult, but if I could make it, then I know everything after that would be okay. But we're here. Sorry, paint. Thankful for that side camera. How do you cycle through views? Like, what if I want the other side? Just keep hitting camera, I guess? Yeah, okay. Oh, maybe they figure the driver's side I could look out at. Passenger side is the one I don't have view of. Okay, I get that logic. So far, so good. I think we made it through the worst of it so far that I know of, that I walked through. But then we've got the second section up here that I haven't walked yet. Also, this is pretty steep. Where are we at? 11. I think we might get to 13 or 14 degrees up here. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in the truck, it feels a lot different. Which way do we want to take this? We'll go on the outside. Again, mid-sized truck benefits here. I could scout it, but I think we're going to send it. Shout out to the hand cooks. They're doing their job right now. I think we might be in the clear. I mean, we're not out of the woods, but I think we're gonna make it. Now, there will always be a small part of me who wishes we had tried going up that other section, but you gotta just know when to hold them and when to fold them, and it did not seem like a good idea to try going back up that. Whoo-wee! Well, I am fully confident in the Frontier Pro-4X now. Goodness. Thankful that we have made it back to trail that we know. Woo! We made it. I'm gonna fold out the mirrors and get out of here. Frontier Pro-4X can do fast stuff too. It handles it well, it really does. All right, back on the road. All right, well, we have survived. We are nearly home, taking some highway back, got the truck cleaned up. We'll have to see how good of a job the car wash did once we get out, see how badly we scratched it up. But that is such a nice real world example of how you don't need the top level, I'll go as far as to say performance off-roader trucks to be able to do more than most people are going to want to do and beyond. The Pro-4X really proved itself here today. And yes, can you get trucks with longer and more compliant suspension and more aggressive tires? Yes, but the Nissan Frontier provides more of a genuine truck experience than a lot of those other trucks out there, and that's what a lot of people are appreciating about the Frontier. I'm not going to do full pros and cons breakdown like some of our other reviews, but I will give you some of the pros and cons that I have witnessed and observed in a little bit more of an abbreviated format after spending a good amount of time with this truck throughout the week. First off, typically I like Nissan seats. However, I have finally identified the problem with these ones.
Caution, toll booth.
Yes, I'm aware. It's the seat bottoms. The seat bottoms are too short. So even myself, fairly average-sized individual, the seat bottoms are only going to maybe about 5 inches behind the bend of my knee. And that means that I'm putting a lot more weight on different parts of my kind of upper thighs near my butt than I would if I had a little bit more thigh support. So the fact that we don't have any sort of front height adjust, and then the fact that the thigh support really isn't very long, has led to less than comfortable seats than I would like. Next, the wireless device charger does work well unless you're running wireless CarPlay or Android Auto and the sun is coming in through the front window. When we were turned a little bit more that direction and the sun was coming in, my phone was really struggling to not overheat. In fact, it was popping up on the screen that my phone was too hot. If you're going to have a wireless device charger that's out in the open like this, yeah, now you can see it's in full sunlight right now, and you're not going to have any sort of active cooling on it, phones are going to get too hot running Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's unfortunate but true. So you either need to tuck them in the shade or you need to have some sort of cooling on there. I went back and forth as to consider this a con or just more of an observation, and I think considering I don't want the price to be any higher for this truck than it is, I'm not going to consider it a con. I just want you all to know the rear window back there is manual, so you actually have to reach open and pull it open. But I've decided that I'd rather have that than have a power mechanism that's going to add cost and complexity to the vehicle. Some of the things I've really appreciated, this new infotainment screen. Look at how nicely it's bringing up a good widescreen version of Android Auto here. And something that's very impressive and you don't really realize until you think about it and test a lot of vehicles. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connect virtually instantly in this car. You turn it on and my phone is already connected. There are other vehicles, I think it was the Subaru Forester we were in, that it took maybe 15-20 seconds after starting up the car for my phone to start connecting, and then that canceled me out of being able to do any climate control, anything like that. So I've really appreciated not only the design, how sharp it is, good resolution, nice brightness, gets nice and dim at night as well, and then how quickly it operates. So very good touch screen here. Because let's be honest, the built-in infotainment system is not that important anymore for cars. Most people are connecting with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, so the fact that it does work so well, I appreciate that. And then with all the physical controls right here, then it's still very easy to operate. A super minor complaint, but the stop-start button is way down, tucked in under here, and then a little bit easier to find and press is the auto stop-start disable button. And there have been multiple times I've gotten in the truck and reached in to start it and accidentally pressed that button instead. Yeah, maybe you get used to it after owning the truck for a while, but I would want my stop-start button to be easier to reach without having to see, because a lot of times you're getting in and you're just tapping it and you can kind of make it muscle memory. It'd be nice for it to be in a little more easily accessible location. Next, I know this is going to sound super subtle and petty, but I appreciate that the fan speed is so quiet. It can have it, right now it's blowing, you barely hear it running. In fact, if I take it off recirc, you barely hear the fan running at all, and that's what I want to have in my vehicle. I want to barely hear when it's just cycling a little bit of air, and then if I need a little more, then I expect to hear the fan. That's, again, something you don't really think about, but I've been impressed with this truck. Another thing that's been good, a lot of places to put things. Alyssa and I got some in and out the other day, and we also had Eve in the back of the car, and we had to change her diaper at one point, so sorry for the next person who gets this car. But I had all things throughout the cabin. I had my filming gear, I had snacks, the food we were eating, I had diaper things, I had Alyssa's meals. The big cup holders can hold my 32-ounce water bottle, any other drinks we've had. I've had camera up here, snacks down here. For being a mid-sized truck, it's a well thought out cabin and interior, and you don't get that out of all vehicles anymore. I've also appreciated the gauge cluster screen and layout. I like that we still have two traditional gauges that look nice and are functional, and then you can cycle through information on the center screen to find your fuel economy or your off-road screens or something like that. It's a nice traditional setup. There are people out there who still want that traditional gauge cluster look and feel. Nissan's giving it to them. There are too many different perspectives on this engine and transmission combination for me to exactly consider it a good thing or a bad thing. But just know that you got to be okay with it shifting. If you'd rather have a truck that feels a little more gutless down at low RPMs, and when you put your foot down, I mean, that was half throttle. If you want that experience where it requires a lot of shifting, but you don't want to have to deal with turbo or electrification or anything like that, this is what you get. Now, theoretically, is this engine going to last longer than one of the Turbo 4s? I don't know. That's kind of up to you to decide. But they just know that this is the driving experience you're going to get with a larger naturally aspirated motor, as opposed to something that's got turbos to fill in that torque down low. Oh, also, I should have started with this con, but the heavy steering. I don't quite understand what Nissan's thought process was in having such a heavy steering, but if you're parking this thing, parking lot, something like that, working it around, you'll find yourself having to use two hands, and some people are going to be like, oh, this is a truck, be a man. There's no reason for that. I've driven, in fact, most heavy-duty trucks have lighter steering than this Frontier. Quick little bonus coverage. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get this portion of the video in, so we're dropping it in a few days later. But we are towing with the Nissan Frontier PRO-4X. We've got the Polaris RZR Pro XP on the back. So with this and the U-Haul trailer, you're looking at about 4,500 pounds on the back of the Frontier, still well within its tow limit. And on the tongue, thanks to our weight-safe hitch, we're looking at about 600 pounds. So just about, probably a little over that 15% of tongue weight that we want. I think these U-Haul trailers really carry their weight forward though, because you can see we've got it even tilted back a little bit, and the side-by-side motor is in the back, so you'd think more of the weight would be back there. But you can see the truck is squatting down, but not dramatically. Seems to be handling its weight well. Let's go for a little drive. Now there are pros and cons to towing with a mid-sized truck. The pro mostly comes from the fact that it's so much easier to maneuver around lots. We did most of our towing with the Ram 2500 Power Wagon, and while yes, that's fantastic for open road towing, when you're trying to maneuver around parking lots, situations like this, and park the trailer, it's actually quite a bit easier to do that with the mid-sized truck. Let's hit tow mode. One thing I did not appreciate though with the Frontier is I was hitching up the trailer and then backing the trailer into my driveway earlier this morning, and the rear automatic emergency braking was engaging as I was trying to back up. So I'd be backing up about 3 or 4 miles per hour, and all of a sudden the truck would slam on its brakes. And it would be nice if when the truck senses, or even if I have it in tow mode, if it would disable the rear automatic emergency braking, because you don't want that happening. It was really jarring everything when it was slamming on the brakes. It happened twice. The downside to towing with a mid-size truck is just not being able to see around as well as something like a big full-size or heavy-duty with proper tow mirrors. I mean, these mirrors are not tiny, but they're not necessarily made for towing. With the Ram, we had blind spot mirrors, and we had large mirrors that could extend outward, and the truck itself was just larger and wider, so I could see more around the trailer as I was driving. With the Frontier, I kind of have a little view of the side of the trailer, but I've sort of got to move my head around to see extra things. But we do have our auxiliary gauges in front of us showing us engine temp, I should say engine oil temp, oil pressure, and transmission temperature, and battery. So I'm able to monitor the transmission, make sure it doesn't get too toasty if you were doing a uphill grade or something like that. But yeah, plenty of power. I'm really not needing to bury it at all in order to get up and get going. That's plenty fine. Oh. Can you feel the trailer back there? It's bouncing the truck around. But it is doing better than I expected. We do have that 9-speed automatic transmission as well, so it's actually accelerating without downshifting right now, though. I'm pretty impressed. Tow mode probably keeping us in a little bit of a lower gear than it would at this speed without it. I forgot to show it out there, but I appreciate that the Frontier comes with both a 4-pin and a 7-pin trailer light connection, so didn't have to have an adapter. In fact, the Ram did not have a 4-pin back there, which I kind of understand, but also was a little bit disappointing. I had to grab my adapter and plug it in. Small pet peeve of mine, though, if you're going to have gauges without any sort of actual graduations and any numbers saying how much what the temperature is or what the pressure is, then have normal be right in the middle, because then we at least have a way of saying, okay, that's where it's supposed to be. Instead, we just have marks, but I don't know if we're at proper or not, because normal operating temperature, as you can see for the oil, is over to the right, and normal operating temperature, where it is for the transmission, is down to the left. And to the battery, well, that one just went over to the middle. So, yeah, you should design it so that it's all just right up in the middle. I should say we do not have an electric trailer brake controller built in. So that is something to consider if you plan on towing regularly, especially with some bigger trailers here with the Frontier. Fortunately, this trailer's just got hydraulic brakes, so we're okay. But keep that in mind if you're towing a trailer with electronic brakes, you're going to have to add a controller. Okay, we're going to get up to highway speeds here with the trailer on the Frontier, see how it does up on the freeway. Alright, cruising now at just over 55 miles per hour. And, again, this thing is doing really well with the trailer on the back. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be blown away. It is rated to tow this much. It's just sometimes you wonder, okay, how's it really going to act with that weight back there? Oh, this is doing great. Don't need a turbo. Just need a few gears and a decent amount of horsepower. And I do know the Frontier reads a little bit high on its fuel economy readout, but now sitting here cruising at, again, 57 miles per hour, we're getting over 20 miles per gallon on the live readout you can see our average is working its way up. It's quite a bit lower because of cruising around parking lots and getting up onto the highway. But yeah, we're settled down at 2,000 RPM. It's not a bad place to be. Everything seems proper in the gauges. Nothing seems like it's going up too much. Maybe transmission a little bit. But I'd say that's a pass for the Frontier. Doing some towing. I know it's not a lot, but we're going to get the side-by-side back to Del Amo Power Sports and drop it off and wrap up our time here with the Frontier. So I'm glad I've finally gotten to spend time with the Frontier. It's been a fun truck to have around. I like how it looks. I like how it drives. I like what it represents. And I like that because of that 6-foot bed, it's more functional than I think every other midsize truck at this point if you want the high performance version. But we do need to put it on the Daily Motor Leaderboard and then hop out and get one more look at it, see what sort of number we did on the outside. Current leaders of the Daily Motor Leaderboard: Hyundai Santa Fe, Jeep Gladiator, and Nissan Armada PRO-4X. I don't really know if that Gladiator Rubicon X deserves to be in second place for much longer. I was thinking about it the other day. It's just a cool car to me. Ranger Raptor sitting down there in 6th. The normal Frontier versus normal Ranger, I would pick the Frontier. But the Ranger Raptor is just so unique. It's barely even comparable to this truck because it's so different. I would be picking that over this. That being said, I know where this is going. Yes. This is where it's going to go. Well, it's going right here, just behind the Civic, 11th place. Well, no, actually, above the Civic, 10th place, because while I appreciate so much about what the Frontier is capable of, what it does, what it represents, it's not like I've been super excited to hop behind the wheel every day. And, you know, if you're going to be spending $50,000 on a truck for yourself, that's what you should have, is something you're super excited to drive. It's very good, though, so I respect and appreciate it, and I like it. So don't get me wrong, that's still a strong rating. It's top 10 at this point. But, yeah, this is a cool little truck. Okay, looking around here. Actually, I think it cleaned up pretty well, too. Shout out to that car wash. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Frontier, check the link below for our fuel economy test and our review of the Fender audio system. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.